I applaud P. Diddy on this video. I want y'all to look in the info box and click on the link, and it's going to take you to the video where Diddy was a guest on the Ellen show, and he was addressing the situation. Instead of passing judgment and not reaching out, he took it upon himself to show support for both Chris Brown and Rihanna. And I can't stand when people who sit here and act like they so holier than thou and want to chastise and make assumptions about someone and write them off when they don't know what exactly happened. The only people that know what happened during that time are Chris Brown and Rihanna. And I'm with Puff. We need to support both of them. We all of us, we have made stupid mistakes in our lives, and some of us still continue to make those mistakes. And when you're in a situation where when you do something wrong, you're going to want that love and support, someone to help you get through the ordeal. We all can have a hypothesis of what exactly happened, but we weren't there. Maybe Chris came out of nowhere and started beating the brakes off Rihanna. Or Rihanna may have physically started with Chris and Chris ended up finishing. I mean, we don't know. Instead of supporting just one person, we need to show love and support for both of them. Because both of them are in a time where they wish they could just rewind time and it should never happen. And I definitely appreciate Diddy for stepping up because no one else did. I don't know what exactly happened, and neither does anybody else, but I respect Diddy for trying to reach out to Chris and try to understand what happened. And also Rihanna as well. Everybody else wants to assassinate Chris's character and hope his career go down the drain. It's like, can we get the whole story before we pass judgment? But no one wants to do that. It's true what they say, guilty till proven innocent. Me, I would not physically abuse a woman intentionally, but I do think you're a punk if you place hands on a woman. Just because she didn't do what you wanted her to do. If a man comes home from a hard day's work and he just end up just punching this woman in the face because as soon as he got in, he didn't see any food on the table or anything cooked over the stove. I definitely do think he's a punk, a bitch for doing something like that. Just gonna physically harm a woman just because she didn't do what you wanted her to do. But if a woman plans to threaten your life, plans on doing bodily harm to you, then you have every right to lay her ass out. Now, if you think that what I said was wrong, you need to have your head examined. Because if your woman come at you with a weapon, there's no reasoning. There's no, baby, I'm sorry. Baby, I'm sorry. She don't hear you. All she hear are her own mumbles. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. He don't know who the fuck he fooling with. And then she don't even see you as a person anymore. She sees you as a moving pinata. You know, that's when you have to make a choice. Do you care about your life or do you care about your belief of I would never hit a woman? Because it's obvious she's using that to her advantage and going to beat the brakes off of you. So only when you're in life, only when your life is in danger should you take necessary action. And keep in mind that I know that there are men out there who intentionally harm their women, for no reason. They just do it. But let's look at this from a different angle. There are men out there that do get provoked. There are women who believe that a man should not hit a woman, and they will use that to their advantage, as I said before, and that like they have the power to get all up in the man's face, cussing, spitting, slapping, pushing, hitting, talking, I'm gonna beat your ass. And the funny thing is, if the man don't do anything, they think they have him barred down. They think that he's scared of his woman. No, it's because he was raised to not put his hands on a woman. I don't know why women feel they are entitled to get in the man's face and think they're not provoking the situation. We do have men who were raised to not lay hands on a woman. But what about raising the women to not demean a man's character? Do you think being a strong woman means you can get in a man's face and provoke him and claim you're going to beat his ass? No. Who raised you? Who told you it was cool for you to do something like that? There are men who were raised and taught moral values, and one of them being not to place hands on a woman. But unfortunately, not all men were raised that way. And one of these provoking ass women are gonna run up on the wrong guy, and they're gonna be in for a rude awakening. That nonsense is not gonna work with every man. All that, no, bitch, I beat your ass. What the fuck you gonna do? You ain't gonna do shit. You ain't gonna do shit. That's not gonna work with every man you come in contact with. You gonna get laid the hell out running up on the wrong one. There have been situations also where the reason why a woman gets a bruise is because she started the whole thing. Now, there's been cases where that has happened. And then they're appalled that the man hit them. The movie Baby Boy. Even though that was a movie, there are those who can relate to the scene where Jody backslaps Yvette. Now, this is the tripped out part. Not the movie, but the reaction in the theater when it first came out. Y'all know how the scene went down, right? The funny thing is, when you think about it, he didn't even fuck the girl that Yvette claimed. And her emotions rise, and she took the first swing by hitting him in the chest. If you're that pissed off and it results to you swinging on a man, don't be surprised if he come back swinging at you. And Jody tried. He tried to leave, but nope, you saw it. Jody didn't touch her at first. But then she started yelling and hitting on him, and as soon as he grabbed her and held him up against the door and told her to get out the way, what'd she do? Punched him in the face. Soon as she did that, the women in the theater were clapping, they were cheering. Yeah, don't talk about him. Oh yeah, don't talk. Hit that nigga. He deserved that. He deserved that. The only reason they in the argument is because she think he fucked another girl. How the hell? You know what I'm saying? That's the shit that got me. It's like he didn't do nothing wrong. So why the hell? You know what I'm saying? All he did, that moment in time, he just grabbed her to keep her from hitting him. He couldn't walk out the door because she was standing in the damn doorway, hitting on him. And then, like I said, as they were cheering and clapping, y'all saw he backslapped her. The women shut the fuck up. All you heard was, and then you heard, damn, ooh, and within that combination of, ooh, damn, you heard maybe 5 or 6 guys say, hell yeah, whoa, that's what I'm talking about. You definitely got a sense in the theater that it seemed like it was cool for her to punch and hit and cuss as if she was the victim, but it was wrong when he hit her one time. See, the movie made it seem like he accidentally hit her, and some would disagree and say he knew what he was doing. But there are situations in real life where the women provoke the men, and then the men react in a moment's notice. Yes, there are women who are victims of domestic violence, but there are women who make the situations worse themselves when they provoke a man. And everybody looks at the man as if he's a punk for hitting her. And then she plays innocent as if she doesn't know why he hit her. Yeah, it's not right for a man to hit a woman. I definitely agree with that. But there is, it's right for a man to defend himself. It's not right to get up in a man's face and demean his character. Is there a rule book that says that women are entitled to get in a man's face and start swinging when her emotions rise and she lashes out in anger? There are women who take it to that level of getting themselves bruised up by a man. That scene in Baby Boy was a prime example. She talking about something. I don't know. Like you said you wouldn't hit me. Like, what damn? You socked the dude you socked him in the face. It's like no matter how pissed off you might be at a guy for whatever he's done, don't put yourself in the position of getting yourself abused if you don't want him to lash out at you. Because a man can only take so much. And apparently that's all that Jody could take. And all men, we react differently when we are verbally or physically attacked by a woman. Some of us are calm and cool. Some of us will give the warning, then attack. And then there are those who just attack without saying shit. So, and I just want y'all to keep in mind that I'm only talking about the men who react when the woman provokes them. So you do have men who do feel threatened if a woman is coming at them lashing out verbally or physically. And the first action is a reaction.